Hello, people of the internet.
Hi.
I am American McGee. This is Lulu.
Lulu.
And who are you?
Martin.
Martin. Yes, and we are coming to you live from the underground lair in Shanghai. And what are we doing today, Martin?
We're going to play some Madness Returns. We're going to look at some art. We're going to look at some stuff. We're going to do some comments. We're going to talk about Alice. We're going to talk about Oz. The whole shebang.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I saw Octo Chicken Greg said he hopes we talk about Alice first because he wants to go to bed early.
All right, let's do that last.
Can we? That's so mean. Greg's been a long-time supporter, one of our earliest ever insane children, and you're going to treat him like that? We'll try, Greg. I'll keep that in mind. We'll try to go straight into Alice discussion or anything else. Your wish is our command, Greg. All right, Lulu, you got to go down to the floor. I can't be having tongue baths on live streams. We'll save that for the, I don't know, those other channels.
Yeah, the nighttime stream.
Exactly. So let's jump right into it. Today, you have a chance to win a prize. 4 of you do. We're going to be giving away 4 angry rabbits. Those things look like this. Now, these have been going crazy over on Mysterious. I have to say I'm a little bit shocked with how successful these rabbits have been.
Yeah.
We seem to be growing like a Plushie empire somehow. And,
Good.
And I think as is often the case with success, it can come to you quite accidentally. And I think this is a good example of that where, yeah, we knew people liked the rabbits and they liked the plushies, but I never really had the expectation that people liked them this much.
Apparently they do.
It's
crazy.
crazy.
You live and learn.
Yeah, they're being advertised on places like Facebook and via Google search and Instagram. And man, those advertisements, I saw that on a week-on-week basis, one of the advertisements had increased by like 2,000% in effectiveness or click-through rate or something. It was really nuts. Anyway, you don't need to buy one. You can win one for free if Nightbot shines upon you. So that is something we'll be doing 4 times during this stream today, every half hour.
Did we get Hype Train already?
Already. I guess the bunnies made a hype train happen.
Woo woo.
Yeah, it's cool. A lot of people though keep commenting on the Instagram ads that they look like bondage bunnies. Have you seen that? You even know?
Have not.
Does anybody in the chat even know what a bondage bunny is?
Google it.
Well, I did, and what happens is you get a bunch of girls dressed up in
Google
bondage.
it. Google it.
Terrible. I don't know that we can even show this because what I got back was a bunch of girls dressed up in.
That's fine.
I didn't even click on the images yet. Yeah. So what the hell is that? Can we show this? This is really wrong. Who is that? David Garcia? Okay, well, I don't know.
Hippity hoppity spankety something.
I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff you get back when you type in bondage bunny. Now, apparently this is it. This is a bondage bunny. He's got buttons for eyes and he's kind of stitched up. So yeah, I can kind of see it.
Yes, it's a stretch.
It's buttons for eyes, but anyway, I don't want to scroll down this too far because that's not good. There's let's get away from that. Anyway, we're not giving away bondage bunnies. We're giving.
Do we have to like click a certain tick box when this goes up on YouTube now?
Yes, there is a not made for children, and you have to tick that you included BDSM bondage bunny stuff. Exactly. Who do we have in the chat?
Ooh, Guitar Bards here. Wendy J. Deeps to the Peeps. Who else? Jay's Black's here. Oh yeah, a lot of locals.
Dragon is there. He says demonetized on YouTube already. Yeah.
Probably.
Wendy J, how's it going? The Fake Summer, yes, good to see you.
False Summer.
False
Summer
Summer.
new?
No, been around for quite a while.
All right.
Yeah.
Avero97.
I see Emo Nerd Queen is back. Anyway, welcome to everybody. Lovely to have you here.
Greetings.
So, what we're gonna do, I did forewarn elsewhere that I was going to cheat and I was gonna fight my way past that section where I was stuck in Madness Returns, and I did in fact do that. I played, and it's funny too because I realized that every time I was dying previously on the other streams, I was literally dying like 2 jumps away from the exit every time.
So now apparently there has been an autosave beyond this zone.
If there isn't, I'm not engaging. I'm just gonna quit out immediately. Yeah, there were a lot of things wrong with that section of the game, to be honest with you. I feel like it was... Don't. Come on. Why am I back here? Oh, I see. So it auto-saved after... Oh, okay. Whew! Whew! That had me a little worried there. Yeah, I think this guy's waiting here. You're done, right?
Yes, in the Patreon, Nabi Yang said basically, in other words, you're going to cheat while you're off camera.
Well, it wasn't cheating because I did actually play through it successfully on my own. But like I said, it really was lacking in some sense that section was pretty hard, and there really should have been just another autosave after that after the section where you fight the drowned sailor. So
Something's happened.
Already?
Another hype train, or 10 subs, or I still don't get Twitch.
yeah, we're what they call boomers, Martin. I don't know if you know that.
We're too young to be boomers. Isn't like
we're
boomers
not.
50 plus or something?
We're not too young. 50 plus or something. I don't know.
I thought boomers were
think
like
that-
people from the 60s and whatnot.
No, I think a boomer is basically anybody who's not hip. You know, that's
I'm
it.
hip.
You're not hip.
I'm
Martin.
hip
sorry
and
to,
down
I'm
with the
sorry
kids.
to inform you, you're just not.
Well, that just sounds like you're jealous and you're just trying to
Yeah.
diss me.
I'm hip shaming you. All right. Anyway, I did not cheat. I did play through this fairly, and it was frustrating even playing through by myself. I felt, it needed some help. But lesson learned: don't build stuff like that again. So yeah, I'll pay attention in the future. And I forget how this guy works. I feel like there's a bit of
Not like
not
that.
like that. Immediately
Apparently-
eaten by this guy.
According to the chat, boomers should be about 50 to 60 years old by now.
Oh,
However, the name has now just basically become to mean old person.
Yeah,
So maybe we
well-
do kind of fit the description.
I've only got a few more years before I'm 50. Sad to say, or not, I don't know. But you know that people in this compound think you're my dad? Did you know that?
Sure, that's not true, but I'll go with
It
it.
is true. You know it happened once in a taxi as well. The taxi driver.
I know that happened.
Yeah, so it's happened again. There's some old ladies in our compound here who you left one day, and they said, "Oh, it's so cute how the dad of Lucky, you know, the grandfather also comes over."
You know what? I'm just going to take it as a compliment that means I just look wise and worldly.
Sure. I mean, there's worse
That's how I'm
things.
gonna take it.
Look, you live in China. There's worse things there to be. Actually, in China, grandpas are revered. Grandparents are revered. So maybe you should just own it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I should try flirting with some.
Some of the other grandmas.
Yeah,
Sure.
maybe.
Why not? You might get
There's nothing
somewhere
else
with that.
going on in my life in terms of dating right now.
Hey, you never know.
Give it a try.
You should give it a try, Martin. I did that. That was it. I defeated that thing. He didn't die in a spectacular way. That was kind of anticlimactic. After the pain I previously went through, I thought for sure I was just going to die immediately there.
There is some advice for that fight in the chat, but it's unneeded now.
Yeah.
From Uzi Lean 30. Thank you anyway.
Thanks. Yeah, speaking of the differences in China, I think I've mentioned what the. Anyway, I mentioned to you, I think the other day that I've had this. What happened there? I swore I
wasn't looking.
jumped.
Did you fall?
I did, but I didn't feel like I should have. Are these those stupid falling platforms if it does that, I'm going to be really angry.
It looks safe.
Anyway,
Is it safe?
I did mention to you, I think, once recently about my what did that do? Why do I care about that? Anyway, I mentioned to you recently, Martin, and maybe even on a live stream recently, my desire to try to communicate to people who don't live in China some of the wonders of China, because like we both know that there's a lot of misconceptions, right? I just bring this up because of the fact of the way that like old people and families are treated in China. I'm seeing a lot more of that now after we've had a kid. Anyway, I found this this video on YouTube called New Money, and it does a really kill or be killed. I don't want to kill or be killed. I'm trying to tell a story here. Damn it. Anyway, this thing, if you go and you look on YouTube, you'll find it. And I think one of the things you should do first is look at the comments, because it's the comments on the video that are the reason why I think videos like this need to exist in the first place.
So the video is quite sensible and it's full of facts and it's interesting.
Yes.
But the comments are all like, China, terribleness around every corner.
Yes, exactly. But if you're interested in understanding a little bit about the recent development of China, now this video is actually one that was made by or tells the story from the perspective of investors,
right?
Because investors have made tremendous amounts of money, or everybody's made tremendous amounts of money. That's why it's called that in China in recent, like the last 20 years. Like if you invested in China anytime in the last 20 years, you've made money. And you and I see it all the time. You know, there's Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all kinds of crap everywhere. I always forget how to trigger the madness mode. Why is that?
Left click.
What?
Click the stick in.
Really? I just died instead. I think that's better.
I don't know.
I think it's much better. Anyway, the video does a comment on the strength of the family here. I'm gonna skip that thing. No, I'll get yelled at in the chat if I do. And it comments on how the economy works and how the government works and how it's not real communism. Like one of the really funny comments that's made in there is that California is actually more communist than China these days, which I believe, having lived in California for 8 years. They make the case several times that China is actually hyper capitalism. They probably do capitalism better than anywhere else in the world. And anyway, so if you're interested in some of that, like learning some of that, like why do we stay here? Why do we live here? And why is it that Martin might do good to go and get a Chinese grandma as a partner? I recommend that movie.
We should do maybe a little series of just life out and about.
Well, we've always said that.
Go to restaurants.
We've said that many times. We just don't ever seem to find the time to do it. So.
So a question here. Question for me, actually. Do I have any game recommendations for PS4 games like Alice?
I like how that ruin is wailing on the back of the teapot. And the teapot just doesn't seem to care.
I forget what it was called, but it was...
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm thinking of the... I always forget the name of this series.
Is that a word? Pissing forget?
Yeah. It's the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Joe Madura did the art. Darksiders. Yes, the latest one that has the lady one.
Yeah, that often gets compared to Alice.
It's really good. Quite enjoy
Bayonetta,
that.
but that's not recent, But Bayonetta always gathered. Darksiders got comparisons quite often. And then Jedi Fallen Order was the thing that I recently didn't play. Shut up, Martin.
The thing you recently did the tutorial of.
Whatever.
And then left.
How am I dying again? Oh, come on.
I did finish it, by the way, for anyone who's interested.
And how like Madness Returns is it?
Very much so. There's running, jumping, you upgrade your stuff.
Do I have to finish that? I feel like I don't.
Fallen Order is actually great fun.
Yes. Well, I only had to play a little bit of it to know how fun it was. So
the combat could flow a little better, but that's just a little niggle.
Niggle. Are you allowed to say that word anymore? I bet that's going to be banned soon.
Niggle.
So, there was the controversy recently. Did we talk about this on the last live stream about the professor who got kicked out of school because he used the Chinese word for this or that? So, Jigga is this thing, and then the thing he got in trouble for, which I'm not going to say because I don't want to get in trouble, is the word for that. Anyway, turns out, guess what Lucky's first word in Chinese is? And why? Because, as I said last time around, it is an incredibly common word. And what he often is doing is pointing and saying this, that, right? That's become really common for him. In fact, if you carry him, he now drives you around by pointing. And that's his first word in Chinese. I was just informed that last night.
Excellent.
Amazing. I think Lucky is cancelled.
Apparently so.
Yeah. All right.
Ooh,
Skip the Radula room, people say. Press
what's
enter.
the Radula room?
That place where I died twice.
Oh.
Here's the dancing oysters.
Still think about American Story of the guy in the airport. A hotel.
It was a
wasn't
hotel
It's not an
lobby,
airport.
yeah,
But we know the story.
Yes. 8Juicy8 says, are there any updates about Asylum? Yes, 8Juicy8, but this is your first time here, because what we do is we play a bit of, well, I fail a bit at my game, and then after that we'll go in to talk about updates on the projects.
That's how we roll.
Yes. So I Love Sick, or Love Sick says, is that the word that sounds like the N-word and you hear in every K-pop song ever? Yes. The word does sound like the N-word, and it gets used constantly if you're in China, because it's what they say instead of like saying It's literally their replacement for going go over there, go do that, right? So,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I see somebody has actually typed it into the chat here. It's the sequence in the center. The G symbol is the thing that looks like the little tree.
Right.
And the one before that is pronounced Ni or Na. So you put the Na together with the G. I'm not going to do it, but there you go.
Alexander Harper, we'll get to that. We'll talk about Microsoft.
Yeah, we
a
did
bit
talk
later.
about that just prior to the stream. So.
Notorious Morpheus asks if I'm good at speaking Chinese to get me a grandma. My Chinese is incredibly bad.
I can't believe how bad your Chinese is. Can I tell them what happened when we went to do our visa renewals and you needed to go to the bathroom?
You want?
Okay, so, I mean, I feel that one of the basic things you want to be able to do in a language when you travel somewhere is ask how to get to the bathroom, because otherwise you're going to crap in your pants. And the other day, Martin and I went out to Songjiang District to renew our work visas, because we have to do that every year to remain here legally and work. And Martin turned to me and said,
Something like, I need the bathroom, I guess?
yes. And I said, fine, go for it. Have fun. You're an adult. And then he let me know that he'd forgotten how to say, I need the bathroom.
What did he want?
Yes.
I don't need to use it.
Money.
You just go
I've
in your
never-
pants.
I just... Seriously, I only learn by repetition, and I haven't needed to use that phrase in multiple years. So I just don't remember it.
Okay. But then also there's the story of you. I asked you once, how do you speak to the security guards outside to help to get them to help you summon a taxi? And what you told me about the way that you ask, the phraseology that you use, you were asking as if, help, it's an emergency, I need a taxi now! Instead of just like, hey, politely, may I...
That's my ex-roommate's fault. I asked, what should I say if I need help? Can you help me? And she said, it was... I've even forgot it now. I know the correct way is bangwo.
Bangwo, that's
Bangwo.
help me, but
Yeah.
you're saying it totally wrong, but go ahead.
What was I saying? I've even forgotten that now because I don't say it anymore.
Well, you're saying basically the right thing, but you're pronunciation of it is very wrong.
But previously, I was basically saying like, "Save me!
Yes.
Help! Oh, I'm in danger!
Save me! I'm in danger! Summon a taxi!" But I guess it got their
I
attention.
was saying that for years.
You probably always got a taxi.
Jiu Ming. That was it.
That's how you say.
I was like, "Ni hao, Jiu Ming," you know,
Save
"
me,
wo
summon
yao
a
Didi,"
taxi, yeah.
or something. Save me.
Great.
Said you'd fallen on hard
Aaron789 says, "How long have you guys been living in China?" I moved to Hong Kong in 2004. So that's 16 years since I left the US. I moved to Shanghai 2 years after that, so I've been in Shanghai for 14 years.
Take you to him. Besides, he's got your damn rabbit.
What about you?
Remember that.
About 10. I
10
think it was
years.
2010 for me.
Yeah.
So probably just over 10.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
We have been here.
Time
a long
flies.
It does fly, and I mean that movie I mentioned, the YouTube video called New Money, and it's type in like New Money China. Just watch that for one reason and one reason only, to see the crazy, incredible changes that have occurred in the last 20 years in China. It's mind-boggling, absolutely insane. Like, there's a section of town in Shanghai called Pudong, like the Pudong New area, that when I first started coming here, there were only maybe 4 buildings over there. It was all farmland. And now it looks like downtown Manhattan.
It looks like the future.
It looks like crazy Blade Runner future. Very insane. And all of that done, I think that, well, that's one of the things that the movie does really well, is it rattles off statistics. It'll say stuff like, in 1 year, China built as many skyscrapers as the US has done in the past. Oh no, it was in 1 year, one city in China has built as many skyscrapers as the entire US has done in that same year.
Right.
And I don't know if that was Shenzhen or Shanghai or somewhere, but you go on and on about the subway system, about the high-speed rail system, about every single system in the country. It literally is the most modern place in the world that you can live, and yet people have completely broken conceptions about it.
Was it Wendover Productions that did the railway
That was a really good
documentary?
one. Yeah, that's another good
Watch
one
that.
to watch.
It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of political bias in what people hear and know about China, and it's I think it's really unfortunate. It's a nice hat. A nice library. Look, speaking of China, haha, it's almost as if we were talking about this knowing that the section we're going to go into next was built by our Chinese artists because we wanted to give them a space to express their culture in the game. And the way that we did that was making sure that the lawyer's office had all the accoutrements of his fascination with Asia.
Right.
So this is Radcliffe says, the ancient scroll is parchment and the characters are drawn in Indian ink, which Radcliffe claims the Chinese invented aeons ago by mixing soot, lamp oil, gelatin of donkey skin, and musk. He does know some remarkable things. Why would you put musk in ink?
No.
That's weird.
Make
I
it
understand you
stinky ink.
put musk in perfume, but not in ink. I think someone just made that up.
Wolfie X says their silver crown jewelry set arrived today.
Woo!
And it's their favorite set.
Wow, that's very cool.
Always good to hear when something arrives. Although that's less of a remarkable thing these days. The COVID shipping chaos is more or less finished now. But yeah, several months ago when people told us that their item arrived, I was like, whew, thank God for that.
Yeah, there was a pretty harrowing time there of things not arriving or not going out to their destinations in less than sort of 2 months. But yeah, we're getting reports now when we send stuff out that people are getting stuff inside of a week. I've seen some messages about that, so that's pretty crazy.
You do have my rabbit.
You rabbit thief! Speaking of rabbits,
You abandoned it at Rutledge Asylum, my dear. We've
Who's
been
that
over
guy?
this before.
Radcliffe,
In
the
a
lawyer.
way as usual, oozing with
That's the
attitude,
family lawyer.
accusatory flummery.
All
I've
right.
stolen her rabbit. Ridiculous pretext.
Wow,
She's
rabbits
about to fire.
everywhere.
All
Not
the
a drop to
man-child
drink.
wants to talk about.
Yeah, the rabbit's going to play a big part in Asylum. We've already written that in there, and I've been thinking about it as sort of like one of the key pieces that you see throughout the story, and that kind of links up at the end of the game as the final nail in the narrative. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. That damn cat burning the house down.
Or was it?
This is it. This is the inciting incident for the entire story. The supposed cat fire. Ooh, she's a bit of a fire starter.
Will there be any changes to any 3D character models? There's only one 3D character model currently for Asylum.
It's a strange question, which it sounds as if there's many 3D character models with an S, but if you're referring to the Alice model that we're going to look at today, yeah, we could still do some updates. True.
It's not 100% final yet.
Yeah. So, Notorious Morpheus says, how long before the first Alice game came out did you have an idea to make Alice and the story and so what? Before the first Alice game came out. From the moment that EA told me that I had permission to make my own game until we began production on American McGee's Alice, I'd say it was probably a little over a year, because we had a whole phase of, like we're doing now, of drawing up concept images and trying to settle on the character, and then there was an internal pitch cycle of trying to convince EA internally that, you know, making this game was going to make sense, and what was the game and who are the characters and all that. So I'd say from the first time that someone said to me, American, we want you to pitch and maybe you can make your own game, to the actual start of development was probably a year and a half. And mind you, that was while I was working at EA. I like this sequence a lot, by the way. I've said before, because it goes from this snowy London scene, which is really cool. I always like weather atmospherics. It's a snow globe.
Broke it.
That doesn't matter as much as the fact that the snow globe motif is going to make it into Asylum as well. Anyway, I think the moral to that story is that even when you're working inside the publisher and they say we want you to make a thing, it still took me over a year to get everything prepared and to get all the deals in place with the developer, and then of course it took 2 years to make the game. So this is a very cool scene.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this a lot. There's that damn train!
It's scrolled past now, but I believe, was it Baco Joy? Said they're still waiting on a print. If it's been a long time, feel free to message me. Support at mysterious.design. I'll take a look at the tracking.
There you go.
There you go.
There's a couple more questions in there for you, Martin. Keep an eye on them.
Just keep chatting so much. Don't squeeze any questions in. Yes, again, this one scrolled past, asking if there is a Discord. But yes, that is a reward on our Patreon. For $5 and above, you get access to the Discord. And this is actually, if you're not doing that currently, it's a good time to do it, because it only becomes active after your first payment, which happens, the next one is going to be early October. So, yeah.
The Veil of Doom.
Look at it.
Okay, let's pause this, and I'm going to say that we should do prize time. Why don't you throw in a really quick whatsy about what's going on with this month? Because there is, speaking of houses burning down and rabbits and Patreon, what's that?
That is a montage of what we're doing on Patreon. So basically, if you join our Patreon before October at the $75 level, when you are then charged in October, which will be around the 5th, you will get the Angry Rabbit and the Angry Rabbit bag and the signed print, The Watcher, that you can see there. And if that's your first ever time at $75, you get an Omega necklace as well.
Not Omega.
No, sorry, Chaos.
Chaos
Chaos necklace.
You messed it up, Martin. Do it all over
Yeah,
again.
all right.
Ah, man. And you make fun of me for failing at the game. You can't even talk.
Can't even talk good with words.
Yeah.
So
That's it. That's the pitch. All right.
that is a fairly substantial amount of stuff.
So before we do the contest, you privately get a question ready. I'm going to answer some of these questions. Jays Black 62 says, "Are you considering using those paper cutscenes for Asylum?" Maybe. I don't know yet. We talked about this before. Depends on budget. Depends on a lot of stuff, but we may. 8 Juicy H says, "How long do you think Alice Asylum is going to take to make?" I imagine that the development itself will take 2 years. When we can start, I don't know, and we've said that many times, but once we have the funds and the permission and everything in hand, it'll be probably a 2-year, quite large development project. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about today is the fact that we are pitching to a new potential source of financing for building a studio, and then that studio would actually start off by making a smaller game, which is what the Oz thing is that we're talking about. And then the studio would transition to making the Alice game. So if it goes that route, then what we're looking at is probably so we'll get more into the pitch we're doing to that publisher / financier. We'll get into that in a little while. But let's assume it all goes really well and they green light it and they give us money and we build a studio. I'd imagine then that we would start work on Oz sometime early next year. So 2021. Probably a year and a half, we'll do a early access type of episodic development and releasing, and then about a year and a half into that, so now we're into 2022, the middle of 2022, that's when I imagine we could start working on Asylum. So now you're looking at middle of 2024 before Asylum comes out. So that would be my best guesstimate right now, based on what we know about how we want to build a studio and then build the game. So anyway, we'll talk about that a bit more in a little while.
All right.
What's your question? You do your question and then
it's not a question so much, but yeah, it's kind of like, what do people feel about Microsoft's purchase of ZeniMax and the, 7 or 8 developers that they now own and all the IPs?
How is that so just to be
it's
clear,
not a question, it's
in
a
order
discussion.
in order to win the rabbit, you have to have Nightbot select you. In order for that to happen, you have to be active in the chat. So Martin is supposed to come up with questions which can easily be answered, like, what is your favorite color? And then you type red or green or blue into the chat just once, and then Nightbot sees you, and then we can click roll it. But now you've just asked them all to write like a freaking essay.
No, look, Anonymouse, just very quick and simple. It's the best thing for Microsoft. There you go.
Okay.
But yeah, we discussed this a little bit before the stream, and I am 50-50. On the one hand, I care nothing for almost all of those IPs that they now own. Doom and The Evil Within are probably the only two that I'm a little miffed at maybe not ever getting to Sony again. However, I have a concern the way the industry is going. Is it going to become just renting games from now on? If Game Pass becomes the overlord of everything, will people no longer own games?
And we said before the stream started, you and I had a sort of side conversation on this, and I mentioned that I think that that's just the way the world is going. So the example I had was my television upstairs made by Xiaomi. You can buy a 50-something inch massive, really nice TV for about $300, right? Like 2,000 kwai. So yeah, like $300, which makes no sense. But in order to have any sort of digital content on that, you sign up for the Xiaomi subscription package, which is like nothing. It's like $5 a month. But for them, it makes sense because if they have, say, 50 or 100 million people signed up for that, and then every month they're getting that money, well, profit. There you go. So I think that that's just the way that these platforms are all going to go, and there's not much we can do about it. So no point complaining about it.
But then, like I also said, if a publisher buys up a bunch of developers, that's fine. It's in their best interest to spread that IP around to make money. But if a hardware manufacturer starts buying too many things up, I get worried that exclusives are just going to get so weighted one way. And I know the industry works on exclusives. This just feels too big for me. I can't put my finger on why, but it feels too big.
Well, you've got Notorious Morpheus says Microsoft's buying these devs doesn't really matter if everyone still gets these games, but I think it's them trying to get exclusives. Sure. Salem says, I agree with Martin, haha, as if that's a funny thing to do.
Apparently.
Laterus says, I agree with Martin. So yeah, there's a lot of people. False Summer says, my broader opinion is that a lot of companies have given up on traditional recruiting except for grunt work and have transitioned to acquisitions to find IP and innovative talent. Yes and no. I mean, there's still a pipeline of venture firms and publishers. So like the conversation we're having right now, which is with this very large Chinese game publisher slash financier slash entertainment. I mean, they're into all kinds of stuff, but they're clearly funding new work as well. That's why they're talking to us. So there is still a pipeline for new stuff. But when a company like Microsoft buys a company like Bethesda, it has more to do with the fact that they've got massive amounts of cash laying around, and they got to do something more than just buybacks on their own stock to keep the value up. They have to go out and do acquisitions. Otherwise, people look at their catalog and say it's not expanding as quickly as your valuation suggests that it should. So more than anything, this is just them going about gobbling up business because it's how they keep their stock price as high as it is. Which
That
these
also
days
annoys
is super
me.
crazy.
These like $1 trillion companies just buying everything.
Yeah.
They're doing a Disney.
But this has been going on for forever, you know. I mean, I've heard people complaining about this for ages and ages and ages. So, all right, well, let's roll it.
Roll it.
3,
But
2,
still-
1.
I'm still getting
It's
PS5.
Emo Nerd Queen. I feel like Emo Nerd Queen won something recently, but that's all right. Maybe. So, Emo Nerd Queen, you did just win the contest. Congratulations. Nightbot has shined upon you. You need to do the thing, which is to send an email to support@mysterious.design. Be sure to include your name, your phone number, your mailing address, the fact that you won an angry bunny rabbit thing, and then also make sure to make all that into a human readable format that does not cause frustration, anger, angst, any of those types of negative emotions. And do all that within 24 hours or you forfeit the fact that you won anything. And we'll send Ludo to bite your face off. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? Any other incredible comments to be read? Hello, says Cassie J8244. I grew up watching my dad play the original Alice and have become obsessed. I got my own computer and borrowed his old PC. Played it myself. Yay!
Love of Dragons is their birthday tomorrow.
Yay.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And Emo Nerd Queen says that they are going to cry. There you go.
Aw.
Congratulations, Emo Nerd Queen. Emo Nerd Queen has been with us for a while, so.
Juicy 8 with all the questions.
Yes.
It's definitely their first time around
I
these
saw that
parts.
question the first time around, 8 Juicy 8, but I felt like I described the scenario pretty
think-
clearly, which was that we were going to work on Oz first, and then we were going to work on Alice. And so normally that means that Oz would come first in terms of what gets published first. So please don't ask that question again, or I'll send Lulu to bite off your face. All right. Per Greg's request, we are going to jump straight into Alice. Greg, don't say I don't listen to you. I do. You drive the ship around here. You just don't know it. Or maybe it's a junk.
It is his junk.
You drive the junk. So, we did release recently an update to the Alice 3D model. This is still very much work in progress, but I think that the reaction to this in general was pretty positive. Would you say that, Martin?
I think it is. Yep.
Yes.
Didn't see anything too terrible
Yeah.
in the comments about this.
And I also got the sense that a lot of people were really into the long hair version. Is that right?
I think so.
Okay. Now, I don't know that we're going to continue to push Roman to make adjustments right now. I think we may decide to just hold on to this for a while because I think we've got it to a good point. We might stop on it and then we could revisit it later on. Haven't decided yet, but I do think that we've got much closer to what people expected based on the original concept artwork that we did. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's getting to what people imagine now in their heads
Right.
when they sort of think about what a next gen Alice might appear like.
Yeah, so this is meant to be her viewing herself, adult Alice viewing child Alice, right? And then child Alice being kind of 13, but actually an amalgam of everything between 13 and 18. So we have to give her a bit of a amorphous, not ageless, but sort of young from 13 to 18 feeling. So that's what's being attempted here. And then, of course, Roman did the long hair and the short hair. I personally like the long hair quite a lot.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's looking really good. And yeah, I don't know that there's much else to say about that. Do you have any comments you want to read over there?
Well, from the 3D model post over on Patreon, a lot of these are very short and praising, but let's go through some. Celtic Kitty likes both. Says, I know that was super helpful. Lucas Manach says, long hair. Rachel Garza saying now she is perfection, forever improving with each update. I'm always a fan of long hair, but happy with either. Davine Lewin Vega is on Team Long Hair. Natalia Lore, again, long hair, but likes both. Let's see if I can find a bigger comment.
Now, I do want to point out that over on YouTube, I mean, we get a much wider variety of comments. It's one of the things that happens when you get comments from people who are not necessarily engaged in the crowd design process. Then you get just people being straight up jerks. So, YouTube had comments from people who were just like, ugly, or this is not it, or
or check out my channel, free videos.
That too. I make $1,000 a month sitting at home on Google. Yeah, so I don't know how to turn that into a comment to improve the model. But anyway, aside from deleting those comments or writing insults to them, I do read a few of them just to kind of get a sense that maybe the crowd design people are being a little bit too positive. And in general, no. I think there is still a group of people who are screaming quite loudly that they believe her eyes are too big.
Ripping off Alita.
Yeah, and I mean, the best you could do there is to show them the original concept art and the character from both the games. Really, I mean, she does have huge eyes, and if you don't get that, then you don't really get the IP. Now we have a contingent of viewers and fans and insane children who come from Russia. They have, through their proxy, tried to make me aware of the fact that they think her forehead looks anatomically incorrect, and they're not happy with the forehead. They sent me a couple of sketches that sort of suggest that, and they feel pretty passionate about it. So to our Russian fans, I did see that, and I know that you feel strongly that her forehead's wrong and anatomically incorrect. And we'll take that as a comment, and we'll, like I said, when and if we decide to come back and make some modifications to this, we'll try to take that into account.
Someone here called Hajere. Maybe just give her a tiny little more cheekbones. A little bit more texture, but it's already great.
Yeah, there's a lot of little niggling comments like that. There I go, using that word again. It's going to be banned soon for sure. But anyway, there are quite a few small comments of, adjust this a little bit. I mean, I saw one guy that was like, just make the eye ducts, a little bit smaller. I'm like, okay.
By 3 pixels.
Yes, exactly. We'll get there. But everybody needs to keep in mind that it's like there's these layers of transitions that happen from the 2D sketch to the 3D model, and then from the 3D model, once we start to animate the 3D model, you're not going to see her doing this unnatural frozen frame thing, right? She's going to be moving, and as soon as she begins to move and blink and her head swivels and all this kind of stuff and her face animates, I think a lot of these concerns will start to evaporate. So I did see somebody, I think it was Tom Resnick, that's the guy who did the the Out of the Woods promo trailer that you saw at the start of this live stream. Tom asked, is she rigged for animation? No, she's not currently rigged. And he also asked, were we going to do traditional animation or motion capture? I think at this point, the whole industry is going just to motion capture, because it's getting to be that you can have a mocap rig right in the corner of your studio, and that the processing requirements for cleanup and things like that, it's getting to be just, you almost can scan capture, and just throw everything into Unreal and it massages it, and good stuff comes out the other end. It used to be that you did hand animation on top of mocap just to get everything perfect, and that was a really time-consuming process. A lot of those processes are now becoming a lot more efficient, which means things don't cost as much and your teams don't have to be as big, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watch, don't know if you watch the Corridor Digital channel.
I did not.
No, bunch of cool, hip dudes over in America doing like 3D stuff, and they're always showing off like mocap suits that you don't even need like silver balls on anymore. It's like the pattern on the suit is picked up, and you just set it up in a matter of minutes.
Yes,
I mean,
right.
clearly it's not as good as a super fancy version, but
it will be though.
Mocap is no longer the realm of, oh my god, this is an astonishingly amazing thing that we're doing. It's the norm.
Look,
now.
mocap is going to be something people, I mean, you're already getting mocap just in your phone when you do these overlays in the chat programs, and it's catching your facial details. And so, mocap is just going to become like everything else, very easy, very democratized as the algorithms and the hardware and stuff get better. So I expect that by the time we start development, we will be fully utilizing a lot of those improvements in efficiency. So this is a piece that came from Norm. Now, this is directly linked to the work we've been doing on the narrative. And so I think many of you know that myself and Alex Crowley have been mapping out from front to back, start to finish, and all the bits in between, the full outline and the narrative for Alice Asylum. And we've made some really good progress on that. I'm really proud of and pleased with what we've accomplished now, and we will be sharing that stuff over on Patreon relatively soon. If you've been following along over there, you know that there have been some quite detailed and kind of passionate discussions around some of the bigger chunks that fit into the narrative and kind of power what it is that's going on, what the main theme is, what her main challenge is. So all that's going to be coming together into this big outline, and then that's all going back into the design Bible. This image came out of that work because in the midst of the stuff we've been doing recently, I hit upon this idea that the caterpillar is going to be like our Morpheus from the Matrix. He lives in the space between time. He's able to communicate with child Alice and with adult Alice, and he can kind of guide her and serve as an oracle, but still be a bit, unclear, I think opaque about his direction, because obviously he doesn't want to solve all of her problems for her, otherwise there'd be no point in going on the adventure. So he's going to be there as, I guess an oracle would be my sort of word to use.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so this is the sketch for the character. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is that the team are going to put him into an environment. So all this space around here will get filled out with this surreal hookah smoke filled in-between space where Alice, and she'll probably be quite tiny, has audience with the caterpillar, and he gives her sort of, kind of cryptic messaging about what she's doing, where she's going, what she ought to be keeping her eyes open for, stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that, because that's going to be actually one of the key things that you see at the very start of the game, is that the whole game is going to start on the smoke from the caterpillar. And of course, if you know the story at all, you know that smoke and fire are a big part of the inciting incident, the burning down of the house. So very first opening frames, what you're going to see is this smoke, and you're going to hear the caterpillar's voice, and he's going to invite us into this new adventure, and then that's going to reveal the space in which he lives alongside. We'll probably have some sort of opening cinematic that kind of replays some of the nightmare that Alice has been through, and then we'll be into Asylum proper. So anyway, for me, this is big, because it anchors, instead of sort of Bumby talking her through, there's the caterpillar talking her through a lot of this stuff. Should be quite interesting.
Well, firstly then, I will tell Notorious Morpheus that he should have pizza. That was a question, pizza or pasta. But Love of Dragons is asking, so that's why we have the Cheshire Cat to help us too, right? What would be the difference between caterpillar and cat in terms of guiding?
Well, the cat's a dick.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, in general, the cat is even more opaque and useless, but I'd say that...
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that, the cat was always there as a kind of point of like a punctuation within the scenes, within Wonderland itself, and we'll maintain that role for him. He will be there, but he kind of doesn't care at the end of the day. He's, representative of a side of her psyche that's very kind of over it, right? Just very cynical and a little too witty. And so, yeah, he's fun to have in the scene for a kind of cynical comic relief, but he's not necessarily guiding her from beginning to end of the overarching journey. The caterpillar, on the other hand, in this adventure, look, at the end of the day, he's the one character she interacts with in Asylum who has the grand view of the entire situation. That is, he knows he's talking to an element of Alice's psyche that represents the inner child, and he knows that he resides within the adult Alice who is suffering some problems. I'm not going to say what because it's a giant spoiler. But you could imagine that he is a sort of higher process running above all of the garbage that screwed her up. And so I kind of view him as representative of maybe all that has been and all that could be of Alice as a person, right? He's her wisdom. He's the accumulation of all of her wisdom. And I think that he's got a very long-term view on everything that's happening. And that could be because he smokes a bunch of pot. If you've ever smoked pot, if you've ever smoked pot, you have multiple of those, like, whoa, man, like, I just realized everything that's small is actually everything that's big, right? Wow, man, it just hit me. So anyway, he's got that perspective, and that's going to be really important to guiding her through the growing up into herself from inner child to adult. So there you go.
All right. So a couple of questions come in about this.
Yeah.
Basically talking about voice actors.
Right.
So the general answer to that is, although nothing is set in stone, Susie and Roger have both shown an interest.
Yeah, they want to come back. I still chat with Roger on Twitter all the time. I know Susie's interested, so yeah, we'd love to have her back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Answered all those questions in one.
Wow, amazing. All right, so this image is coming from the chess realm, which is lodged within the notion of depression in Asylum. And after Alice visits with the Queen and the Hatter, and then she's sent off to collect all the bits and pieces necessary to assemble the Jabberwock 2000, which later on we discover was kind of like a cover mission for her true goals. But anyway, she ends up in the chess realm, and she's got to negotiate with the two sides. I don't know if it's black and white or red and white, or I don't know. I know Omri will get angry at me for not exactly understanding what the colors of our chess pieces are, but I know there's a white side, and I think the other side is red. I always get confused about that, though. Anyway, so this is her in the court of the White King and Queen, and she's trying to negotiate to gain access to this sort of vault where they keep the rule, because she's realized, and they have realized, that in order to play the game and win, it won't work if she just plays it by the existing rules, that she needs this new rule that's been invented, that's never been tried before, or something along those lines. So we're going to see her traverse the chess realm. Now, we've shown off art from this realm before, and it looks really, really cool. But, at some point she'll end up face-to-face with the King and Queen, and then she'll also have to go do the same thing on the red side of the realm, and fighting her way through a bunch of chaos and nonsense on the way. But this is really cool. I love the visual. I love the visual of this scene.
Good angle.
Yeah.
Quite dramatic.
I know some. See, I'm getting people angry at me in the chat here because I'm not being clear about the Red Queen. I know it's a Red Queen from the story. That's not the problem. It's that oftentimes when we're doing the story development and we're talking about light and dark and chaos and order, all this stuff, it gets a bit mixed up in my head. So, not a big deal.
The floor does look a little bit like a dartboard.
Like a dartboard.
Mm,
I hadn't thought about
fine.
it like that. So yeah, this is Alice in her chess realm dress, doing a bit of. She kind of reminds me of one of those crazy street preachers here. Like,
Right.
the end is nigh, repent. Maybe we should have her do a riff on that.
Wearing a sandwich board.
Yeah, exactly. Handing out little pamphlets telling people to repent now. But yeah, this is all really cool. I mean, I think there's going to be some really dramatic and beautiful scenes in here. And then, of course, the realm itself lends itself to a lot of really interesting geometry puzzles and logic puzzles. So I'm really looking forward to the design we're going to put into that stuff.
Mm.
Speaking of all this stuff, and this is going to, I think, some of the questions that were coming up in the chat earlier, and it may be, I don't know what Greg's specific interest was in the work that's going into Asylum these days. But I mean, there is the story stuff, there is the art stuff. Again, a lot of that I've been working on with Alex on the story stuff, and then Omri and the team have been working on the chess realm. But there's also just the general background work that we're doing towards the studio. And that is a thing that we've talked about in the last maybe one stream. Is that right? It's only been one stream since this became a thing.
I think so.
Okay. So for those who are not up to speed, we were approached by a very large game company in China. I think they're somewhere in the top 5. And they are very interested in our team and in our ideas. And they've said, please pitch us because we'd like to give you money, but there's a formal process we need to go through. And as I've talked through it with them, they've said they really like Alice and they want to help us make Alice happen and then some, which I can't go into too much detail about. But they said that they feel we'd be better off to start the studio with a smaller project first, build ourselves up, and then we can tackle Alice. Now, I like that idea because it is exactly how we built Spicy Horse from the start. We did Grimm, and then we tackled Alice, and that is a really smart way to go about doing it. So, there is a post up over on Patreon where I shared sort of the questions that came from said publisher about what they'd like to see. Now, again, a lot of what we're doing here is not just art, it's not just design and story, but it's also the sausage factory of how games get made. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, then a post like this might be really interesting to you because it gives you the specific requests made by the potential source of money for building a studio and then building an Oz game and then building an Alice game. So this got a pretty good reaction. What were the kind of bits of feedback on this?
What was the name of this post? Mysterious Studio. Here we go. Notorious Morpheus, straight away. I feel like this is a sneaky way of saying that you found an investor in Asylum and other mysterious studio projects.
Well, I saw that comment and I don't quite understand it. I'm not trying to be sneaky about it. We've found a company who wishes to give us a pile of money to put towards the creation of a development studio in which we would first build Oz, something based on Oz, and then we would second build Alice. That's what they are requesting of us to do. So that is the plan that we are putting together. And in fact, it says that here. Long-term plan. First, Oz. Second, Alice.
Read it!
I don't know how to be more clear than that. It's like this morning on Instagram, I thought this was really funny. I posted up on Instagram this picture. Oz Adventures, join us for a live stream. And then this guy wrote, is this separate from Alice? It says Oz. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, yes, Morpheus.
Yeah.
We're gonna. Ah, boy.
Cyrilla Rose. I have to say this is really inspiring. I like the concept for Oz too. It's a good way to explore lots of ideas and iterate in the same game. Alright. Sarah Heist is a huge fan of Oz being episodic. Anything here about the studio? Not really. Leave it at that. Did anyone actually mention the studio? Wendy J. I'm absolutely loving the pitch for the mysterious studio, and I hope it works out. My only concern is the story of Oz. It sounds not great. Oh my god.
Yeah, I saw Wendy's comment, and I found it interesting, because I'd actually like to know why, because I think maybe people hear us say episodic and Oz, and then they think, oh no, I don't like episodic games. I don't want to have that. And that's, to me, okay, because there's been some episodic games that have been good, and there's been some that have been bad, and there's maybe been a lot from Telltale that fell into a very specific type of gameplay. And I could understand how people might say, oh, I don't want Telltale games. Like, I know a lot of people who just think episodic game in the 3D PC console space means those Telltale games, like the Walking Dead games. Look, for us, that's not what it means. For us, when I think about Oz as an episodic game, what I imagine is that episode 1 comes out, and it's like a 6-hour AAA console title, or maybe 8-hour, we'll see, but it's a 6 or 8-hour AAA console action-adventure title, very much in the vein of Jedi Fallen Order or Alice Madness Returns. And that the development time on these is maybe a little bit shorter. Like, say, it's a year of core development where we have early access for people to play along as we're developing it, and then there's another 6 months of finaling. So, to get one of these out takes a year and a half, but there can be simultaneous development of multiple chapters. Now, one of the things we've talked about is that in the story that I've outlined, Oz Adventures would be lots of different stories being told. So episode 1 might be the plane that you see here with this particular character as the main character crashes, and then she plus others have to survive. But episode 2 could be, a World War II pilot that crashes into Oz, or a French balloon pilot who gets sucked into Oz, or a ship that goes into a sort of Bermuda Triangle and the pirates on that ship. And each of them are standalone, but each of them are also interconnected by elements in the story and the characters and things like that span across the hundreds of years in which all these various adventures take place. So Oz becomes this really fun, magic-filled sandbox for the adventures of lots and lots of different characters across time. So when you say, I don't really like the story, I think, which one? There's potentially lots of stories that we could tell here.
Right. Emo Nerd Queen feels like we are steering too far away from the Aussie elements. Their favorite thing was the Bat Dog Toto.
Yeah, so here's the issue, and this happens a lot. When we start to pitch or talk about things, oftentimes you're hearing the opening paragraph of the story. That doesn't mean that that's where the whole thing goes. So as we had with the recent conversation around the opening, or a quite dark concept within Alice Asylum that would start things off very, very dark, you start not magical. You start not bright, and then you work your way towards very magical. You work your way towards the brightness, right? So the character, like say in the image you see here, will crash land into this place, not realize that it's this crazy magical place where she can literally wield magic. But then over the course of the adventure, she will become a super powerful magic user. So what better thing can you imagine than a person who starts off their day, a normal individual from a normal place, gets in a plane crash, survives, and by the end of the adventure is like a super powerful witch or wizard, right?
Yep.
So there's a lot of room to expand on. We're not just going straight into like, whoa, you're a wizard, Harry. No, you got to build up to it.
I think it was Lucky Dragon mentioned again about something similar, like not being Aussie enough. Has there been a mention of the Yellow Brick Road yet? I seem to remember seeing a comment about that.
Well, I mean, I've specifically given our artists instructions not to start with the iconic yellow brick road and Emerald City stuff. Specifically instructed them not to do that because it's been done to death and it's not the start of the story. It's not the way that, it's not like their planes all crash straight into the yellow brick road and they're like, what the hell? There's a yellow brick road here.
Onto the witch. Slippers stuck out the bottom.
So, your favorite person says, I love the episodic idea. I just wish we could see more Oz stuff. Look, everyone, Oz stuff is on the way. The last time that we had a live stream, all I could do was show you a logo. Now we're starting to see some elements, but I'm trying to build the foundation first. What's the foundation? The foundation is lots of people arrive in Oz over the course of many years, and we then follow their adventures as they learn, each and every one of them, slowly, that holy shit, we're in a crazy place where there's flying monkeys and my dog is just turned into a bat and I can shoot lightning bolts out of my eyeballs, right? So you have to build up to it. We're not gonna just go straight into the crazy magic stuff. You have to build up to it over time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that makes sense.
Does?
Yeah. There were a couple of different plane crashes that got rendered as well. I thought those turned out really cool.
They mostly seem to be kind of like ye olde planes.
Yeah.
Nothing much modern going on there.
Well, I think the thing here is sort of more modern, but that definitely looks like some sort of older. But I also told the guys that the problem with these is they look like they've been wrecked out for a very long time. They look like they've kind of been overgrown in the jungle and they've become rusted and worn and whatever. I want to see, and that feels wrong to me, I want to see a plane that looks like it's a brand new plane that's just crashed into Oz, and then the main character standing there going, holy, whatever. Glad I survived that.
Right.
So, but it's not always going to be plane crashes. And also keep in mind, the next time we do a live stream, you will start to see the magic and the castles and the flying monkeys and all the other stuff of Oz, right? We have to go step by step. Our team is not that big. If you want the team to be bigger, throw more money at Patreon. Is it time for another?
It is time.
All right.
Ooh, look at it.
Time is flying. Yes.
Questions.
Oh, Girls Don't Poop 123 says, I am a sailor. Really? Do we have sailors that watch? Because I'm a sailor.
Apparently we have one at least.
And one that doesn't poop.
1, 2, 3.
All right. What's your question for the contest? And everybody, we are, just to remind you, we're going to give away where is it? Yeah, we have them here. So this is the bag that it comes in. It says angry on one side and it doesn't say anything on the other side. And then you have the rabbit. You hold him up by his ears. That makes him even more angry.
Ooh, the size of those ears.
So we're going to give away one of these here rabbits. And he's angry. And apparently he looks like a bondage bunny, but we don't even know what those are. What's the question?
The question is, episodic games, if you played them, how do you feel? Is it a good idea or is it a bad idea? I've never played an episodic game apart from Grimm.
Yeah. I played some of the Telltale games and I liked them.
I played a demo of Life is Strange. Kind of enjoyed it, but I never bought it. So I don't know.
Yeah, there was another one I played. Is Monkey Island episodic? But I played some of the Telltale games. Obviously played Grimm. I don't mind them. I think they're fine. I think the world could actually use more of them. To be honest with you, Notorious Morpheus has asked this question like 1 billion times now. He wants to know.
Don't answer it. Teach him a lesson.
Did Neil Gaiman's Sandman inspire anything in the Alice games? No, it did not.
No.
It did not. I try not to let myself be inspired in that way by stuff that I've read. So, Looking Glass had said previously, self-contained as the episodes might be, is there a plan for an overarching story? Yes, I thought I said that. But yes, there will be pieces that fit together over the course of all the episodes to a larger story, yes. Okay, here's the answers to your question. Life is Strange is great.
What I played.
Walking Dead is done okay, says Anonymous.
There's another Depends from Uzi Lean.
Cyber Ratty says episodic games are awesome.
Okay.
I wonder if that's Cyber Ratty is the Ratty that used to work at Spicy Horse. Could be. Wolf Among Us is wonderful. Yeah, so I think a lot of people like episodic games. Nothing wrong
like
with
it.
them. It just depends on how they get made, right?
That's it. It seems to be they're fine, but it depends.
Yeah, you need to cram a lot of content to feel worthwhile. Yeah. Well, so one of the things that I want to do with our episodic model is to combine it with crowd design, because I think making smaller, shorter games and then combining that with crowd design means that we all get to work on it together. And then in the end, we might come up with something quite magical. So,
Ooh, false summer, not a fan
ooh,
of
no.
episodic.
Infinite episodes says 8 or 0. Yeah, I think, infinite episodes, as long as we're doing good games, be all right.
Yep. Coolsies.
All right,
Shall we roll it?
We're gonna roll it in 3, 2. It's Notorious Morpheus.
Look at that!
Congratulations, Notorious Morpheus. That's what you get for asking questions over and over and over again. You bothered Nightbot into giving you a prize.
And this can also answer Emo Nerd Queen again, who asked how to do the thing.
So you do it this time, because I said it last time and I clearly wasn't heard. That seems
Send
to be a
an
pattern.
email to support@mysterious.design. Say that you won the Angry Rabbit bundle from today. Do this within the next 24 hours or you're not getting it. Format your address correctly. Different lines, name, street, state, city, postcode, whatever. Don't do it all on one long line, as some people do. You know who you are. Yeah, do that. And, you can say hi as well if you want. Doesn't have to be just sterile.
Are you asking for love? Are you saying please
I'm
say
saying
hi?
it's okay if they want to do that.
I see.
Some people do. Some people have a bit of a chat and
Just remember
it's
that
fine.
when you do write these emails in, that Martin is the one that reads them, and be sure to include some love in there, because Martin needs love, as do we all.
as do we all.
Speaking of love, you're working on stuff. We'll get back to some Alice stuff in a minute, but we should do a little bit of housekeeping, because I know you're working with the factory on this. Can you give us an update on what's going on?
This is the Insane Children's calendar for our patrons over on Patreon. As you can see, it looks fantastic. And right now, we're at the stage, we've talked to the factory, we've talked about production and costs and timelines and all that jazz. They have now been given the final thing you are looking at now, the final file, and they are going to make us one copy of this so we can give it the final thumbs up before we ask for mass production. That is the stage where we're at.
Did we decide this is exclusively for Patreon? I thought we said it. Oh, it was a
Patrons
code.
will get it a little cheaper.
Right.
And yeah, we're still figuring out the ins and outs of that, but we're probably going to do it through BackerKit and just Patreon. Choose which one you like best. It'll work out the same.
Right.
But it will also be up on Mysterious for sale. A little bit.
While supplies last.
While supplies last, we're not making an infinite amount of calendars. It will be limited to... What did we agree on?
I don't know.
1,500?
Something like
Something
that.
like that.
I suspect those will all go away quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, don't want to keep shilling Patreon too much. No, you don't like that.
What?
But...
They don't?
Oh, I'm sure they love it.
Okay.
But, yeah, I'm guessing that next month we will send out the information to patrons about how they can get this amazing item.
Yeah. Well, this is meant to be a sort of tribute and a thank you to our insane children, which is why it's called the Insane Children's Calendar, 2021 calendar, something like that.
Yeah.
So it looks really good. Yeah.
To be clear, it doesn't matter what tier you will be at. You could be at $1 and you will still be eligible to buy this at the cheap patron price.
That's right. That's a good thing to make clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not just you're at a tier, therefore we'll send you this. That's
you
not
go.
how this is going to work.
Notorious Morpheus, no. It's
No.
support@mysterious.design.
As we said.
Mysterious.design. We say it in every stream
Several
multiple times. Chain of sort. And then somebody just told them yes. No.
Wrong, Uzi Lean.
That's not nice, Uzi Lean, lying to Notorious Morpheus like that.
No.
Okay, where were we? I think we've covered the latest on Alice updates, and we've talked about Oz, and we've talked about Mysterious Studios, right? So the other thing that's getting worked on these days, did we cover enough about Alice? Like, everybody clear on what's going on there? I guess the main thing to know for people who, like Greg, were wondering what's going on, maybe I don't know if Greg wants to know what's going on, but is that we are building a new one of these pitch decks. This is the next thing that's going on. There's a deadline we have internally for the new pitch deck that is for October 15th. That's our internal deadline to have a new pitch deck like this finished, where the emphasis will be on Oz first, followed by Alice. And that new pitch deck is going to be geared towards the new potential source of financing that we've been talking about. So in terms of like the things that we're focused on these days, getting the content done for the pitch deck, which means a couple of key images around Oz, which is why we're doing these Oz images and why I'm doing them in the way that I'm doing them. So we get those Oz images done, we get a new pitch deck done, and then we're going to put all that stuff into the pitch deck and put that in front of this potential financier. Now, while that's going on, like I said, Alex and I are working on the Asylum narrative stuff in the background. And once that's all finished, which we're very close to being finished with it, that all then goes back into what we're working on for a design Bible. So the design Bible, it turns out like a huge amount of the content for the design Bible is already done. We just need to get the story in there and then wrap everything into it and push towards finishing it. And I imagine that's going to still take us some months to do, but that is the focus right now. So that it will mean new art and additional story stuff is getting built for the new areas that get defined as we move through that process. But we've got so much of that work done. I think it's a pretty clear path in front of us.
Sounds like it.
I think that kind of brings everybody up to speed. So yeah, the next big goal right now for us, at least internally, is middle of next month, middle of October. You know, there's
less
a holiday.
than a month.
You know, there's a holiday coming.
Yeah. What are you going to do on the holiday?
I'm not going to do anything, but I just think everybody out there should know that Mid-Autumn Festival is coming, and that will mean that things do slow down, at least here in China, a lot, because like the whole country basically takes off. It's the second largest holiday period in China, so we should expect that some of the progress that we're making on certain things related to China will slow down a little bit. I saw that Wendy J said, you once said you'd like to start a game studio in Thailand. Are you no longer interested in doing that? No one ever said that. We're still doing what's outlined in this pitch deck here. It says here, I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a small studio in Shanghai supported by a larger studio in Thailand, and that is exactly what we're planning to do. Small studio here in China, and we've said that to this potential publisher, and they like that idea. We're revving to go on that plan.
Yeah.
Have I ever sacrificed anyone to Poseidon? Says girls don't poop. I've nearly almost sacrificed myself to Poseidon on a number of different occasions, but I've survived all of those.
Reki42 asks if the holiday we were talking about is Halloween.
No.
No.
It is a big holiday. Halloween is actually a lot bigger in China than you'd think, but it's not. Octo Chicken says, well, now that the Alice Asylum stuff has been covered so graciously, I can get to sleep. Thank you. There you go, Greg. You're welcome. Now we're going to talk about different stuff. We're going to talk about...
We'll talk about you.
Greg. Now that Greg's gone, let's talk about Greg. Has
Greg.
everybody seen Greg's junk?
I hate Greg.
Oh, man. Just really annoying, constantly demanding stuff. Glad he's gone. All right, let's talk about cats. And plushes in general. So this is... I know this isn't video games. I know it's not Alice Asylum. I know it's not Oz. But it is actually an integral part of the studio that we're proposing to build. And that potential source of financing that I've talked about, they love this stuff. So they have their hands in all kinds of stuff, from games to media like films and also into toys and merchandise. And they have all kinds of channels for the creation of all that stuff. And when we talk to them about a unified platform for the creation of new IP and linking it up to merchandise like this, they love it. So it turns out that actually part of the reason why our pitch to them is so strong is because we're doing crazy stuff like plush toys. Now, this is a new, it's going to be this kind of creepy cat.
Scruffy Bumps is the name, is it not?
Scruffy Bumps is the name. I don't know. This is what happens when we give Jennifer drugs and then she comes up with these creepy cats.
Is Jennifer here?
I haven't. Yeah, she's right there.
Oh, yeah.
She says, heck yes. So, yeah, this is Scruffy Bumps. Now, he's just in a very early sketch stage. But I like him a lot. I think a really creepy little black cat like this would do quite well. We'll come up with some sort of fun story for him. Now, there's versions on the cats. I mean, this is where he started. And I like this cat with the tentacles coming out his butt, but I'm afraid that it won't sell. So one of the things that's been really surprising is that we're giving away those angry rabbits today, but the love rabbits are actually what's selling like crazy. People are buying like 2 love rabbits for every 1 angry rabbit. A lot of people buy both, but I'm surprised that like cute and love seems to be winning in the current war over darkness and anger.
Seems like it.
Yeah. So my initial choice was like, yeah, let's do this horrible thing over here. But I think that we're gonna go with something more like this in the end. But the process, and by the way, we want to hear your feedback. Like, tell us in the comments and tell us over on Patreon what you think about this design and how you would or wouldn't change it. This is the first step, and then we'll do a version of this. Actually, that's what Jennifer did here, was trying to lay this out for the factory to see.
Ooh, that's a good idea from Blue-Eyed Lady Devil. With those long dangly legs, could actually double as a backpack.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Now, this is the next step in the process. This actually started off as one of these sketches, and let me see if I can find his sketch. So he started off looking like, oh no, don't tell me I didn't put the sketch in here.
Well, the sketch is on the bag. We can hold the bag up.
Well, that's not the same, but you can hold the bag up. Anyway, so this is a bare-fisted bear. So he's literally got another bear for his fist. And then I don't know if you've seen this, but his butt.
Those are some excellent
epic.
Buns.
So he's got a Terminator eye and another bear's head for his fist. He's got massive abs, and yeah, the bag he comes with is pretty epic as well.
It is good.
Now the process we went through to get to this, it's like this is another one that's getting made now. This is American Psycho. So they all started as these sketches, and it's really fun because the factory, I don't think they've ever made crap like this. They see our designs and they're like, what are these people smoking?
What the hell are these? What's going on?
Now, American Psycho is a cousin to, or a brother, or somehow related to this pig, and this pig is what we call werewolf. I feel like we're kind of overexposed there on the camera. But anyway, this pig, you peel back the wolf, and inside the wolf is the pig. So yeah, he's got actually, now this is just a prototype, and we found that like the top of the flap of the mouth and stuff is the wrong shape. Looks a bit like a hippo. So there's a new version of this coming soon. He's going to have all of the adjustments made based on your feedback. And then that bag is great.
Come on, see that? It says, come on. Oh, there he goes. Little pig, let me come in as you wish.
So we've got a couple of them in production right now. This bear has basically they nailed it on the first pass, I think. Now if you feel differently, if you think that the bear needs some sort of fixes, let us know in the comments or over on Patreon. But I think, didn't we have comments on this thing?
I don't know about this thing. I think False Summer, or maybe someone else, or maybe False Summer said it twice, thinks that we should have more fuzz.
Well, not all of them. The False Summer says make them all fuzzier. Some of them are fuzzier than others. This one was kept intentionally unfuzzy because, I mean, he's just ripped. But the rabbits are a bit fuzzier. Depends on the thing. And this cat, the cat that we're working on, Scruffy Bumps, that thing is gonna make up for any lack of fuzz on the others. This thing is gonna be 99% fuzz.
You're going to be needing one of those like sticky roller things to
Yeah.
take the black fuzz off everything you own.
Exactly. These guys are pretty plush though. The rabbits are.
We do have comments from the Barefisted Bear post.
All right, let's hear them.
Evibbles says the booty is strong in this one. Really does. Lucky Dragon, my god, this is perfection.
Yeah, that
Perfection.
was it. We nailed it for Lucky Dragon. I
Rachel
saw that.
Garza, they got it perfect right away.
That they did.
Wendy J, that butt makes me think of more than just a butt. But I love it.
The butt is hilarious. I don't know. It's like two balls sewed together with his tail. Actually, that looks very. Now we're banned on YouTube. I don't know what.
Carolina Belemetsnova. He is amazing.
Oh,
I
God.
wouldn't change a single thing.
Yeah.
It's all positive. Oh. Salah Abu Rashid.
Salah's always got interesting comments. Let's hear it.
Feels like he needs a bit more work. Suggestion, the torso could be more rectangular and his buns could be part of the plushie rather than add-ons. This is silly since I know that adding extra parts is much easier. Is it? Okay. A more rectangular unit of a body he's asking for, perhaps.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, there's a few more of these in development. I think this bear is going to go... It's going into production now, and it'll have the fantastic bag. I don't know what happened to the bag, so that's a good set. Look, we're having a lot of fun making plush toys. And
Speaking of which, Martin311, can I get a panda in the future? Well,
yeah, so that's being worked on. That's this pandapede, like a human centipede panda. That's probably going to go into get a sample made pretty soon with the... we have three getting samples made right now. One that's going for sample work is the Scruffy Bumps. And then the other one that's going is the American Psycho. So that's the wolf wearing a pig. So this we're going to get a sample for right now. And I feel like there's one more, and I can't remember. Maybe Jennifer remembers which one it is. But there are a few more getting made as samples right now. And then these will get go through the crowd design process. So you'll see us talking about them. But yeah, I really want to push the panda into production as well. I think it's a really good one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
It's I'm kind of curious though, like how the barefisted bear is going to do, say, compared to the rabbits, because the rabbits are doing shockingly well. And I know that I've seen comments out there from people who will sometimes feel a little put off. They'll say, "Oh, you guys are supposed to be making a game. What does this merchandise stuff have to do with a game?" I want to reiterate that the guys who've come at us saying that they want to give us money, they love this stuff because they see, like I see, that you want to be able to make single player narrative games, but the finances don't always work out as great as when you put the loot boxes and the subscription crap in there. But they're fans of single player games. They like Alice. They said that to me when we sat down. They're like, we really like console single player games. But what they like more about what our model is that we are combining console single player games with a merchandising model that makes the whole thing make sense for everybody involved. So anyway, to those who are out there saying, hey, why aren't you guys just completely focused on the game stuff? Keep in mind that the success of the other pieces we're able to build on our own right now feeds directly into our ability to land the funding we need in order to make a new Alice game. So it's a long play. It's taken a while. It's taken us a while to build up everything, but it's gaining traction and it's starting to work now.
You have been told.
The grumpy ones, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I think it's important for everybody to know, though.
It is.
Yeah, it's I mean, this process, look, we've said before, it's like going to the factory and seeing how the sausage is made. And not everybody wants to see this stuff. Not everybody is built for seeing the long slog of business development that's necessary in order to get a game like this made and, get it off the ground. There's so many films in Hollywood that have stories like that where, it took 20 years or took 10 years to get such and such a film finally financed and made. But when you go to the theater and you see that, it doesn't come up on screen and it's like, note to viewers, it took us 15 years to secure the financing and get this movie made. So keep that in mind while you're playing your games and watching your movies.
Girls Don't Poop has had a message held by Automod. He's been sweary.
That's all right. Just a real quick aside, since we did just mention movie stuff. You will note that our good friends Deborah and Andrew over at Freaky Fandoms still have they've not provided us a new logo, so we are still using this kind of chopped up pig wolf thing as a placeholder, but they did let us know that a new logo is on its way, and that if people want to see what they're up to or support their efforts these days, you could go over and check out the 80s Horror Doc Instagram. That's the name of it right there, and you just follow that on Instagram. And they are involved with this 1980s horror documentary project. They're making a new one, In Search of Darkness 2. And so you can get your name in the producer credits and do all kinds of fun stuff. And then hopefully the next time we do a live stream, we will have a new Freaky Fandoms logo from them. There you go.
There you go, indeed.
All right. It is time for yet another rabbit giveaway. I hope you have a question.
I don't have a question.
No, I have a question.
Go on then.
It's a very good one, and it's relevant to what I was just discussing. Who out there has examples of, and please punch them in, a particular movie or game taking a very long time to get made? So, for example, it took... No, I think the rights to the Don Quixote, didn't it Johnny Depp and then somebody else, and they tried to make a Don Quixote movie and it totally failed, and it was like cursed from the beginning.
I don't know anything about that movie.
Yeah, so I don't know. Punch into the comments your knowledge of any particular movie or game that suffered like a 10 or 15 or longer year, development hell.
Game-wise, clearly Duke Nukem.
That's true. I always see people make mention of this Yandere simulator, but I don't actually know what that is. And I know I'm not a good game industry person for not knowing. I keep meaning to Google it. Do you know what that is? Yandere Sim? Yeah, I've seen it mentioned a couple times, and I should really go Google that.
Somebody wanted a closer look at my Dragon Ball shirt.
Well, as long as it's not a wanting to look at your balls, that's fine.
Vegeta and Goku having some fisticuffs.
Yeah, so I think somebody mentioned there Terry Gilliam and the Don Quixote movie. I think it took them a really long time to get the thing off the ground, and then it was like a disaster as they were trying to make it. Duke Nukem obviously is a pretty obvious one.
Dead Island 2 is taking a fair old while.
Yeah. 13 years for Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. So it's not unusual for stuff to take a long time, but I think there's a lot of people out there who don't think about that, and they like to get kind of salty when they feel things are taking too long. All right, here we go. We're going to roll it in 3, 2, 1. Cyber Mandante.
Cyber Demon Dante.
Oh, sorry. Cyber Demon. I thought it was like a Rasta name. Hey, Cyber Mandante. Rasta. All right, well, congratulations, Cyber Demon Dante. You have just won an Angry Rabbit, and the way that you claim that, Martin, you take it away. Tell him how to claim his Angry Rabbit.
Write an email. Send it to support@mysterious.design. Say that you won the rabbit. Format your address very nicely for me on separate lines. Put your telephone number in there as well. Do this in the next 24 hours. Otherwise, you'll be very upset when I don't send you a thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Easy. Very easily done.
It is.
Star Citizen says Love of Dragons. I'm always a little confused about Star Citizen. So I follow Derek Smart, And I also met and knew Chris quite a few times, and I get the sense that Star Citizen exists and you can play it, but I also hear stories that they collected something like $200 million
More, I think.
or more, and I don't understand it, but I don't know. And then I find that the people who support it and love it think that they're happy, and then the only person who's really pissed off about it is Derek Smart. So
It is. I think it's a case of how you define a game being out. I mean, like you say, it's there. You can play it. It's online. You can fly around. You shoot stuff. You buy spaceships. Clearly, the game is out, but it's not finished,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it's not technically out.
I saw people on YouTube getting angry because you could get into your ship, but you'd fall through the floor and fly out into space. And yet, when you look at it, it's partly because it sounded like, anyway, that they were doing like what I'd like to do, which is an early access type of development, so that you're knowingly playing something that is not finished and polished. You're in a beta. So you would expect to fall through the floor and fly off into space and die and, have your ship blow up and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm sure there's people with proper grievances about what's going on, but at the same time, they're leaving out perhaps the fact that it's meant to be broken when they're playing it. So, but I do try to pay attention to those things, and I do want to make sure that we don't end up being one of those stories. I don't want to become a cautionary tale. So, for everybody out there who feels a bit angsty about what we're doing here, trust me, I also feel angsty. It is something that I wake up every morning and think to myself, right, we've got to make good on our promises. So don't think for a second. I don't sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and go, we've got to find money to make this thing happen. So we do. I do. I think about that quite a lot.
Yeah.
All right. To be honest with you, I think we've kind of run through all this. So if you've got questions you want us to answer over there, let's do those.
I did just have a quick idea. I don't know if we're going to mention this now because it's a little ways out, but the Pirate Jam Skirmish is going to be a thing in a few months. We mentioned
it's a
that.
bit far out for that. And it's a bit far out. Let's wait till we've got the page up and running.
All right.
But let's go through some of the questions you've got from our patrons.
Let's have a look. Well,
Girls Don't Poop says, are you a fan of The Boys? Yes, but I have not seen the new episodes. But it's really dark. I mentioned this last time around. I liked it, but it's a bit too dark for me.
I like it. I'm watching the new episodes.
Yeah.
I won't say anything in case people don't want spoilers or anything. But yes, still great.
Mm-hmm.
What's this one then? Oh, this is the one from Lucky Dragon, who was talking about the distinct lack of yellow brick road. We already talked about that.
I did address that. We will, in the next live stream, we should start to see artwork. Just FYI, here, I'll scroll to that right now, as a matter of fact, while you continue, Martin, but I'm going to scroll over here, all right?
All right.
Yes.
Savo comments on you getting a ringer to pass that stage on Madness Returns.
I didn't need a ringer. I did it by myself. I just did it without the pressure of all these eyeballs on me laughing at me.
I also didn't actually see you do it, so I mean we've just got your word for that.
You got me. Lulu did it.
Yenny do it or something.
Just FYI, for those of you, following along on Oz and saying there's not enough of actual Oz and magic and all that kind of stuff, what I'm scrolling through right now is our development board where myself and the team have been talking about all of our Oz ideas. So you'll see there's been a lot of conversation around this, obviously. And at some point I will scroll past. I'll find the some of the reference art I sent to the team to suggest to them what the visuals of the world should look like, specifically the stuff that's going to end up in the pitch. All right, so you continue, Martin,
right.
And I'm going to scroll.
Savo goes on to say, in the chess pick of Alice, saying she looks a little bit too much like a nutcracker, but overall looks good.
Because of that dress design.
Maybe the face? Kind of like painted wooden styly. Maybe.
I mean, I would assume it's because of the dress design, but whatever. If you want to say it's because of the face, don't know. We could ask that person.
Could do. I don't think they're here.
Okay. Maybe we can get a sad bunny, love to have one, says Devly. That's a sad one, an angry one, and a love one.
Just go through all like emotions.
Jealous bunny.
Confused.
Drunk bunny. Yeah, sounds good. We also had somebody say, have you watched the German show Dark on Netflix? No.
I heard about it, and I think I looked into it, and then I didn't for some reason. Can't remember why. But no, I guess is the short answer to that. Rosuav really likes the long-haired Alice model. Probably going to skip a load of these because these are just people saying that they love the long-haired Alice. Suicidante? Whatever. Asks if it would be possible to have a middle option of the hair length. I mean, the hair length, the difference is about that much. Yeah. So, I mean, really is a middle option.
Well, I mean, this is one of the dangers with crowd design is oftentimes you just get people saying, like, a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. Oh, come on, guys. You need to make decisive decisions. They need to be meaningful. Otherwise, you're stuck in the kitchen all day just kind of mucking around.
Get out the kitchen.
Get out the kitchen.
Aussie Mitt loves the long hair. Skipping past more people who love the long hair. Ooh, man, tons of people really did comment on this. Eliza Renali. Skip the long hair bit, but is also a little worried about her forehead. Seems to have a hole in the middle. The profile seems a little alien. The forehead is big, but I saw some people in the chat earlier. It makes her look younger. Does it, in your opinion?
I don't know. I didn't have a very strong reaction to the forehead, to be clear. But I know people did, and look, this is one of those places where I will take the general consensus about the forehead needs a bit of adjusting, and we'll make some adjustments. That's the other side of crowd design. I say this to Yin very often. She'll come to me and be like, oh, I did this design for a sweatshirt or a something. What do you think? And I'll be like, I don't know. Like, don't ask me, because it's not my thing, right? And so I actually feel the same thing about all the people making the forehead comments. I look at it and I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. But when I feel not bothered by it, I assume if people are being bothered by it, then maybe we could make a little bit of improvements. So we will make a few improvements. By the way, I want to call out, I saw a comment scroll by here that I actually like a lot. Somebody said, how about a hysteria bunny? And that I like. Here, this was Arcadia the Executioner said, hysteria bunny. Now, a white bunny with like the red and the black and that could be pretty cool. I like that a lot. Jennifer, since you're there and you're listening, would you please make a note to sketch out a bunny that is a hysteria bunny based on Alice? That would be pretty cool. And while you continue, Martin, I'm going to scroll through, just so everybody knows, the images I'm about to scroll through, first of all, these are not images from our team, and these will also not go into the presentation that we're building. These are purely for reference that I've given to our art team for the kinds of things I'd like to see them, go around in terms of themes and content of a magical, incredible, stunning World of Oz. Now, some of these are watermarked with credit to the artists. If some of them do not have credit to the artists, I apologize. We're not trying to steal your art. We're not trying to put your art into our game without credit. None of that crap is going on. This is part of the internal process that every team does of pulling reference images, whether it be you're in a fashion industry or you're in a games industry or in movies or whatever. We go online, we go through Pinterest, we go through Google, we pull reference images and we share them amongst ourselves and we say, yeah, that's in the general direction of the stuff we like, or no, that's not right. This is in the general direction of things I like, that when I see them, I think I'd like to see stuff like that in our version of Oz. So, the plane crashes, you're in a forest, and you're like, what the hell, where have we crashed? And then you come around the side of a mountain, and it's like, what the hell is that? And then you realize you're not in a normal place anymore. Okay, I hope that was clear enough. Now, Martin, please proceed.
Please continue.
Yes.
Janavi Hurley feels that her eyes are still a bit big, but her eyebrows could be a lot thicker. I agree with Omri on that one. Thicker eyes, I think it means eyebrows, make for a younger face. Just one opinion in a sea of thousands, but there it is.
There it is.
We picked it out for you.
I like this image a lot. I don't know if it has the artist's credit on it, but I when I think about our Oz and exploring sort of the back areas of Oz, the off the beaten path, I imagine a lot of kind of ruins of stuff carved into the side of mountains and very naturey and sort of, I don't know how you describe that. I like the notion though of civilizations that carve into the world. And especially because I think in our Oz story, we're going to find out that there's a kind of like earth magic, sort of worship of the land type of thing and ley lines and all that kind of crap. So I really liked this image. When I saw it, this felt to me like it could just come straight out of the world that I was imagining.
Rosuav asks, says, the world is far from Windows only these days, in regards to OSs. Can you pledge to at least attempt to support Linux from day one?
Oh boy, I love Linux users. Pledge your allegiance to the Linux Legion.
Isn't there something? My friend is also a hardcore Linux user, and there is an emulator which basically runs Windows games almost perfectly.
It's not good enough for them. They want native Linux distributions. So I can't pledge that right now because I don't know what the shape of our studio is going to be. I guess the better question would be, and somebody could Google it right now, does Unreal have a button you click?
Export to Linux.
If it has that, then sure. If it doesn't have that, then I don't know right now, and I'm not going to answer that right now.
Have either of you seen that new Wukong game? I have.
That's the one that's coming out of China that got a little blip of news.
It's a big blip of news.
Yeah.
Everyone lost their shit over it.
I tweeted back to somebody who said, oh, look, finally we're getting games out of China. I'm like, dude.
Finally. In 2020, it finally happened.
And then I said, there's a lot of games getting made in China. He's like, yeah, but we've never seen a Chinese game make like a AAA game. And I'm like, okay,
come on, man.
First, never mind. All right. I think after I went back and forth with him, he finally looked up who I was, and he was like, "Oh, you used to run a studio there making AAA games. Okay, never mind." I like this. I quite like this image. Again, this is something I stumbled on. It was on DeviantArt or Pinterest or something. But I like the notion of the runic business. Kind of ancient magic hiding in the forest type of stuff. Again, apologies to whoever the original artist of this was. It's not one of ours. But again, this is the type of stuff that I'd like to see in the world of Oz. To those of you who were saying that the plane crash stuff wasn't magical enough.
Looks like there is some kind of Linux stuff in Unreal.
Yay!
All right.
So while you're looking at questions, so the image up here, this again, not one of our artists. In fact, this says it came from somebody at Wizards of the Coast, Elena Danner. The reason I pulled this piece of imagery was because I like the notion of Oz as a self-contained island onto which you crash. In that sense, and people have made this comment, it's a little bit analogous to the TV series Lost. When I was searching for this stuff, I bumped into people talking about Fantasy Island. Did Fantasy Island get a modern day remake?
Is that the one with the little guy?
Yeah, the plane boss.
Might have, but I don't know. Well, I don't think so.
I found stuff, and anyway, in a way, you could say like Oz is a bit like Fantasy Island if it's that sort of weird magical place. But it's like Fantasy Island meets.
It did. More than 10 years ago, though.
Oh, okay. Well, it'd be like Fantasy Island meets Lost meets lava and demonic death tentacles. So that's kind of what we're going for. I love this castle. Again, the person didn't sign it, but this is pretty damn cool. And I could imagine like the things you see flying around in the sky up here being a bunch of flying monkeys.
Monkeys!
Yeah, that's really cool.
Julien Marchetti, this is the mysterious studio post, just thanks you for the post. It's this kind of information is very interesting and gives them hope on the future of video games. Disappointed with the way that video games are going currently with microtransactions and whatnot, and is thankful for the way we are trying to move things.
Lucky Dragon's trying to give me a lesson on the geography of Oz.
Right.
So I'd just like to point out, Lucky Dragon, that it depends on which map you look at. Because in the original map of Oz, you can see that it is surrounded by desert, and there's this square land in the middle there. But there was another map released with the later books, and you'll see that Oz is in fact surrounded by water. There's even a ship out there. That might even be Greg's junk. But yeah, there's a ship out there in the water, and so you get a bunch of land, and then you get the desert, and then you get the center areas, the center kingdoms of Oz. So
It's massive.
So, Lucky Dragon, no. Sorry.
That was about it for questions. There was
That's it
just a
for
lot of
questions.
repeated, I like long hair
Cool.
going on.
Well, let me finish. I mean, I had to take a little moment aside there to tell Lucky Dragon no. And then we're just going to go through the rest of these little bits of art really quickly. Again, this is not our art. This is just kind of like a sense or a feeling of the world of Oz that I pulled some reference images for, and no idea where these would fit in just yet, and you know whether they're near the water or they're not, and so. But you know, again, there's stuff like this that feels like half Star Warsy, half Lord of the Rings. You know, we've seen it done before. But the main point I had in sharing these images with our artists was to sort of anchor them in the mood of what it is that I expect to see from Oz. Some ruins hiding. Do you say ruins?
Ruin.
Ruin?
Mhm.
Ruin.
Cool whip.
Whip. Stop it, Stewie. Stop saying whip like that.
Will Wheaton.
What do you mean, Brian? Whip. Stewie, such a jerk. All right, so this was the image that popped up in the midst of what I was working. You know, I was looking for images, and this apparently was a rendered done of the new Fantasy Island. So Rourke, was that the guy's name? I don't know. Anyway, this was the island. And I like this. I mean, I do have it in my mind that our version of Oz is this sort of, I don't know, I keep coming back to theme park, and I don't mean that in the sense that got a ticket booth and whatever, but I like this sort of fun layout of different areas and zones of adventure and landmarks and stuff. And so we'll end up doing something like that. There will be a proper land per that map that you saw, but of course we'll take some creative license with it. And you'll have areas that look like stuff like this. So,
Some good art going on there.
and look, my favorite.
Floating land masses.
I love chunks of rock floating in the sky. If you know anything
must,
about what I like,
Must have some unobtainium inside it.
yeah, exactly. This is
Ooh,
very cool.
at
Again,
that.
apologies to the artist. You know, I don't know who did this. I pulled this off as something, and again, you know, just feel, right? Just kind of mood.
Yeah.
This is a pretty cool mood. There's a bit of kind of Walker tech stuff going on here, which feels appropriately junky to be kind of Oz tech.
Yep.
The same way with the construction of this stuff, and it's all got an organic feel to it. And there's obviously some guy here who's sort of wizardy. He's got a pointy hat.
Pointy hat gives it away.
Yeah, so you get the sense that there's a kind of tech plus magic plus green stuff going on, and that's kind of the mood I was hoping our artists would capture in this stuff. And it's just kind of classical. This
Lord
looks
of the
very
Ringsy.
Lord of the Ringsy. Yeah, Lordy of the Ringsy. All right, that's it.
That's it.
We have come basically to the end of our 2 hours for today. We're going to give
Woo!
away one more Angry Rabbit, but before we do that, we're going to do the things.
The things.
Yes,
Do you have the things open?
I do. There.
If you like us,
Pina colada. If you like pina coladas,
yeah,
He
and
walks in the
something
rain?
In the rain.
yeah.
But if you like us and what's going on, and Alice and Oz and art and plushies and nonsense.
And the butt on this
and
bear.
the butt on this bear. We do have a list of things that you might like to do if you would like to support us. 2 of them are completely free. 2 of them aren't. Thing number 1. Sign up to the Alice mailing list. All of these things are listed on AmericanMcGee.com. No false email addresses, please. Those don't help. So yeah, just sign up. That'd be great if you would, thanks. Thing 2 is to just follow our social media stuff. Get our numbers up. Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Just click subscribe and the bell icon and other nonsense. That would be great. There is our Patreon, which we have mentioned several times today.
No, don't say anything more about it then.
No,
they know.
You know Patreon. Go and
Yes.
take a look. And we do have a online store called Mysterious, where we have many, many wonderful things. Art prints, wallets, purses, t-shirts, and it's rapidly filling up with skulls.
And rabbits.
And rabbits.
Basically, it's a skull and rabbits shop.
That's kind of where it's going.
If you like skulls or rabbits, visit Mysterious, because those seem to be the things we sell the most of. That's weird. What kind of weird audience do we have? I like skulls. I like rabbits. Let's go to Mysterious.
Should we sell rabbit skulls?
We could do. I'll look on the Chinese interwebs and see if we don't find something like that.
But yes, there you go. Those are the 4 things that we would be happy if you looked into.
There you go. Dick Ig-a-loot. Dick-a-luke. I don't know. Anyways, that person says they're signing up for Patreon, so thank you for that. Your Patreon support goes directly to support the team of artists, and we do have quite a team of artists and designers and writers and everybody else who's working on the things that you saw today. Mysterious is like my family business. So my wife works inside of Mysterious and her mom works inside of Mysterious. Like if you get art prints and stuff, her mom's the one that wraps them up and sticks them in the tubes. So anyway, we're just like this little family home business thing. So when you buy things from Mysterious, you're actually helping to put diapers on the bum of my cute little son.
And me.
And also Martin, because he poops in diapers. So that is much appreciated. Thank you all very much for your support and your love and patience with what we're doing here. So there you go.
Yeah.
We're going to give away 1 more rabbit.
Yes.
What's the question for the rabbit?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
Well,
What did we just talk about recently? What can we feed into?
What would you give this plush as a name? Now, I quite like American Psycho. I think that's very...
It's a good one.
American
Psycho.
So see if you can come up with a better name than American Psycho. And that'll be the question that gets you in. Now, you can type anything into the chat. We don't really care. You just want to be seen by Nightbot. But yeah, if you want to win a rabbit, you gotta say something in the chat. Let's get some names for this little fluff.
Bacon and grins.
So we had American Psycho. I think there was a few more. I'm trying to think. Like this
Porky Lederhosen.
Pork Fluff. Wolverine Psycho. Wham Ham Man.
What animal is wearing the pig?
It's a wolf.
It's a wolf.
Yeah, so this is basically the 3 little pigs. And this variation that we're making, so they're friends, you know. This is a pig inside of a wolf, and that is a wolf inside of a pig. Now this one, the pig inside of a wolf, we call Hannibal Lecter.
Yep.
Yeah, Hannibal Lecter. And then the wolf inside of the pig is called American Psycho. Pig Blanket.
Wolver Pig.
Growly Oinker. I like that's kind of cute.
Pork Chop. There's a cat called Pork Chop.
A weird thing to name your cat. Were you in China?
I was.
All right, that was borderline.
Oh, I know where it's
unacceptable.
from. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, before I say anything
Sausage
else
woofing.
unacceptable, I'm going to Oh, it's funny. So the guy who won the prize says, American, do you remember a guy named Tim Rogers? He's got a channel called Action Button, and he brings you up a few times. Yes, I know Tim. I was friends with Tim. I guess I am friends with Tim. I went to visit him a number of times in Tokyo. He is an interesting guy. I like him. I hope he's doing well. He always seems to be up to something interesting and creative. So, all right, we're gonna roll it. It is Uzi Lean 30. Congratulations, Uzi Lean. You have just won yourself an angry rabbit and the bag it comes in. Tell him, Martin, what to do.
Send an email to support@mysterious.design with your name, address, and phone number formatted correctly on separate lines. Tell us what you won. Do this within the next 24 hours, or you can get bent and you're not going to get your stuff.
There you go. And we'll send Lulu to bite your face.
Arr.
She just crashed out back there. Do you see her? She's sleeping. Very strange pose as well.
Odd. I wish we could get that camera over there.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations to all of our prize winners, and we will be back. We will be back. Actually, we might be on a bit of a hiatus due to the Chinese holiday.
Yeah.
But we'll post up on Patreon when we will be back. Yeah, I think that's in the middle of the holiday, so we might be skipping. We will be back in like 2 weeks' time, basically. Anyway, we'll post that up on Twitter and Patreon and stuff. You're all very loved. I hope you know that. I hope that the world, wherever you are, is not falling apart too badly. Maybe things are even getting better. And
Hope. Touch wood.
Fingers crossed. And we will see you again
Soon.
Soon.
Jib it up.
Get bent.